All right, let's go over this. So, when Heather was in college, she was robbed by a young man who threatened her with a knife. It was an unexpected and frightening experience. This event occurred at about dusk, so in the afternoon, and for a long time, she often experienced moments of dread in the late afternoons. Right, the conditioned response is so in an exam, you would have your multiple choice question, and I would really be recommending to write your 5 stimuli and responses down on the side of the page and just identify them all very quickly and then choose your correct multiple choice answer. All right, so let's do our neutral stimulus first. It is something in this scenario that should not cause a response, okay, but ends up causing the response. So I normally look at the end of the scenario and look at what she's now, so blah, blah, blah. Now she often experienced moments of dread in the late afternoons. Okay, so late afternoons or dusk, that shouldn't really cause a response. So that is our neutral stimulus. Okay, our neutral stimulus is always the same as our conditioned stimulus. Okay, they are the same thing. So we can put dusk, late afternoon. Now, our unconditioned stimulus. This is a stimulus in the scenario that is an unlearned, involuntary stimulus. So something that's going to cause an involuntary response, something that we wouldn't learn, I suppose, a response to. So being robbed by a young man who threatened her with a knife is an extremely, like, we would be scared of that. Of course we would. Okay, so the unconditioned stimulus here is being robbed by a man who threatened her with a knife. And if it was a short answer question, 100%, you can just like literally copy and paste it. All right, robbery with a knife. So that's our unconditioned stimulus. Now, we've got to look at our unconditioned stimulus is going to cause our unconditioned response. Okay, so what does the robbery with a knife cause? It causes fear or frighten, her being frightened, I suppose. So you could say Heather being frightened. I'm just going to say fear. Okay. Our unconditioned response is always the same as our conditioned response. There's only one thing that changes. So we can fill that in, fear. Now, the only thing that changes between these two things is where the fear is coming from. Okay, so before conditioning, we had a robbery with a knife and fear. Okay, that obviously causing fear. Now, our unconditioned stimulus and our neutral stimulus have been paired together. All right, so these two things are paired. It was a robbery at dusk. So they're paired. Now, because they're paired, it becomes a learned, so conditioned response to be fearful of that late afternoon. All right. So the only difference between our unconditioned response and our conditioned response is where the fear is coming from. The unlearned, unconditioned response was a fear due to a robbery with a knife. Okay. Our condition, our learned response is fear due to dusk or late afternoon, so time of day. Okay, so we have learnt to be fearful of that time of day because these two things were paired at the same time. All right, this unconditioned response is unlearned. We are just involuntary going to be scared of somebody robbing us with a knife. That is involuntary. That's scary. So the only two differences here is where that fear or that response is coming from. All right.